The Farm at Lane's End, Chapter 31. The Farm at Lane's End is the ongoing story of a typical English farming family. Farmer Ken, his wife Jean, and their son Dave. In Chapter 31, Ken, Jean and Dave are talking about a trip to the coast. Vocabulary. Used to. A used to is a phrase that tells of something one did, but no more. I used to go to school in London. We used to go to Whitby every summer. High tide. High tide is when the sea is at its highest. Low tide is when the sea is at its lowest. To join in. To join in with something means to take part in something. I joined in with the game. Words you might like to check. Day out, excursion, day trip, trip, outing, seaside, coast. And now to our story. The Farm at Lane's End, Chapter 31. The Bartons are planning an excursion to the seaside. Dave starts. Mum and Dad, we haven't been to the coast for a very long time. How about a trip to the seaside? Farmer Ken thinks Dave's idea is good. A good idea, Dave. Just like old times. When you were little, we often used to go to the coast. Jean joins in. I remember we often used to go to Whitby. We really enjoyed it there. The beach was wonderful. It stretched for miles and miles when the tide was out, and at high tide when the sea was in, the beach was completely covered. High tide and low tide. I remember them well. Ken has something to say. And when the tide was out, everyone did what they wanted. Everything from taking long walks to riding their horses. Jean has something else to say. You're right, Ken. And when the tide was in, we always used to go to that nice little restaurant at the top of the hill for fish and chips. I can still taste it when I close my eyes. The best fish and chips in the world. Dave has become very enthusiastic. Mum and Dad, we really must go to Whitby again. As Dad said, just like old times. Won't it be fun? And I'm sure Claire would love to come too. Ken has one more thing to say. And by the way, we could take the train. The steam train that runs between Pickering and Whitby. The NYMR, the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. The Bartons are happy. Jean puts on the kettle for a nice cup of tea. And now some questions. Where are the Bartons going? Why do the Bartons want to go to Whitby? Please explain. We used to go to Whitby when you were little. Where did you used to go to school? What did Jean say about the beach? How do you understand low tide? How do you understand high tide? Where did the Bartons used to go for something to eat? Which meal did they choose? What did Ken suggest at the end of the story? What is special about the NYMR? How do you understand the phrase, "and by the way"? And that's all for this week. See you at Chapter 32. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye for now.